Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup for our final series of the day, Hera versus TaToH. I'm hopping on the caster desk to join T90, who's pulling double duty. And here's the deal. I wanted to be a good casting partner, right? So I was like, T90 just did a big 5-game series. It was nice and long. We might be gearing up for another one. So I went straight for the Lamberger protein bars. I was like, you might need some fuel. Bad news. The players, casters, and production alike halfway through day 2 have already eaten through our entire supply of these protein bars. We do have some chips, which I know you're rather fond of.
Maybe I didn't know we had the chips.
Those are crunchier. They're not good for broadcast. That was my concern.
Okay.
But my hope here is that this clip finds its way over to Lamberger, and they send us maybe a refresh on the protein bars that have been fueling the incredible games we've already seen at this tournament so far. But with that, T90, we turn our attention to what has to be the marquee matchup of the day, the two undefeated players up top the table. 3-0s yesterday to put themselves in this position, but somebody's about to fall.
Yeah, somebody's about to fall, and I think that this similar thing happened early rounds in group stage in NAC 5, where TaToH and Hera faced off in the group stage. I think we had some really good games. I've got some crazy arena monk action coming back to my mind.
Oh, yeah.
I think Burgundians, Aztecs. Chat's probably going to remember that one. So yeah, it should be really good. Always very strategic when you're talking about TaToH. And then with Hera, it's just that pure execution, right? And that combination of the two can lead to a very good series.
Speaking of strategy, my mind goes straight to the draft. Let's take a look at what these players have equipped themselves with when it comes to the best of 5 that lays in front of us. A reminder, 10 admin bans across civilizations, and so players have to work around that and show some creativity. We'll be kicking things off on African reed beds, but taking a look at the civs available for Hera. Malay first pick, Dravidians, Italians, Khmer, Mayans, and Berbers. Over for TaToH, Vietnamese first pick, followed by Lithuanians, Armenians, Huns, Aztecs, and Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couple shout-outs here. I mean, Spanish and Aztecs, those are two civs we haven't seen played a ton, especially on maps that aren't like bypass. I think we saw Spanish on bypass earlier. That's a bit more expected to see the castle, but where's Spanish going to be played? Traditionally, we've seen more of a Vietnamese play for Copenhagen. So that tells me that maybe TaToH's toying around with picking Spanish somewhere else. I know of some sneaky behind the scene strategies.
Oh, okay.
With Spanish, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut because that was all from looking over players' shoulders.
Yep. That's wise.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe there's some wild card things you could do there. Hera's first pick is interesting to me. Malay, good on kind of all settings, so they're never bad, but he's got a lot of water civs already, so probably not for Pacific Isles. And then I'm not sure about Citadel or High Tides either. So I'm actually not completely sure where Hera would prefer to play his number 1 pick.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I love that because I think sometimes you end up in a situation where it does feel like it's an almost certainty the matchups we're going to have across the board. And this is also an opportunity, especially when I think of a player like TaToH, going up against Hera, the most dominant player in the scene right now, no questions about that, right? You're going to have to find an edge somewhere, right? And so getting kind of a wonky matchup in one place that warps the rest of the maps and the possible matchups, that could be the answer, right? That could be the answer. Sometimes you need something to break your way when you're going up against the best.
Do you remember, because I think we were casting this, what series did we cast yesterday?
We did Viper Doubt yesterday.
Okay, Viper Doubt. So it wasn't that series. There was a series, I believe, where Doubt or TaToH had Incas on High Tides. They went for the water and they just added a couple eagles in as they went.
Yeah, so it wasn't Doubt.
It was not Doubt then. So anyways, I believe it was TaToH. He went Incas. Now, Incas showed up in the random bans, which is the admin bans, but he did snag Aztecs, and High Tides is one of the maps. So I'm thinking, based on the priority of the pick, because it's a later pick, and it's a Hera home map, I think we might see that similar strategy in this, where you prioritize water and go Eagles. It was actually... TaToH Dogao is what it was. Sorry, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, first series of the day yesterday.
Yeah.
So we've already had 8 series from there, but in just a few seconds we'll be diving into that first game of the set. It's going to be on African reed beds here. TaToH in the red, Hera in the blue. Armenians versus Khmer.
Wow, okay. So we already see a barracks here from TaToH. So this is a prepped strategy. This is group stage. Hera's the favorite. We've been talking a lot about if people are going to save strategies. Well, This seems like a strategy that's a little out of the box that TaToH wants to use here in the group stage. He's going to go Dark Age, Spearman, the only Civ that could do this, and he's delaying his dock.
And you just go straight to your opponent's dock, right?
Yeah, so the TC positions are fixed. The water positions are fixed. Hera just wants to push his deer, go for a really fast scout build, and adapt from there, I'm sure. We'll see if it works. This is what's always fun when you're watching someone up against Hera, because you kind of know what Hera's going to do.
Now, here
you don't know if the crazy stuff is going to be enough to stop him.
Here's the question. I already love it. Already love the ingenuity. Do you wait a little bit to show the Spearman so that the investment on water is greater? If you show up right now with the Spearman, yes, he's already invested in the dock.
Yeah.
But don't you kind of want one or two more fishing ships out there before you show up and Hera decides to pivot away from it?
I think what's going to benefit you is just the travel distance. It takes so long to get there that it is probably going to be a second fishing ship at least. Where I'm wondering is, is this something that can work against the Khmer when they can just hop inside houses with villagers? Right? That actually could become a crutch here for Hera to defend. If he sees the first spear, that villager is never going to die.
Right.
And then, TaToH actually steals a sheep, which Hera might notice. But then the wood line could be housed as well later on.
Absolutely. Okay, so here we have it, just finding his way into the vision of that dock. We'll see how Hera responds. Would expect the villager to hop into the house if he's the one who gets focused, but it's straight on to the fishing ships with the Spearman. Hera gonna micro, like his life depends on it, just try and waste as much time as he can from these Spearmen. That's all he can do, while he's already clicking Loom and looking to go up to the feudal age.
So the thing to remember here is TaToH doesn't have fish because he had to do this to kill the fish. So it's not as if TaToH's got this free fish boom behind. Hera's probably still feeling like, this is kind of all right for me. He sacrificed his build to get here, and he's hopping in and out of his houses here.
Goodness.
And he has actually trapped one of the spearmen in there. That was a really cool play from Hera, but now the house foundation's down, and now Hera's got to think twice about that.
Yeah, so 3 spear investment so far has managed to kill one fishing ship, idle another, and successfully idle this villager for a period of time. But like you said, Hera already on the way to the feudal age, 1 minute away, with all of that food and wood investment. Ooh, loses the scout. That could be large.
That's huge because that's something that never happens here if Hera's not put under pressure because it's a fixed TC spot. It's always like this on this map.
Yeah.
So that's something that now Hera maybe is in his own head, a little frustrated with himself. Did he not get a palisade down there?
Oh, okay. I mean, luckily had the houses, so once again, would have had the option to hop into those. But even still, forcing reactions out of Hera is TaToH while trying to rush up the walls at home. Because again, I'll point out to people, only 300 food in the bank, not yet on the way to the feudal age. Hera coming forward now with 4 villagers. Now the question is this for food or is this for tower?
I think maybe a mix of everything here.
Okay.
He has the option to take the stone. That's where most of the stone is. Then he's got the shorefish, and he'll go for the range. Now I don't know if this strat's going to work from TaToH, but I already love it because if you play the meta against Hera, he will out execute you. So you just create a messy game. And put Hera into awkward situations, and it's likely Hera's never faced up against this before as well. So against anybody, you're just putting them in situations they didn't practice.
Honestly, I'd feel pretty good about my position if I was in TaToH's shoes right now, having clicked up to the feudal age, getting that dock up, so I'm going to look to start building up my food economy with the fishing ships, and the wall's nearly completed. The question is, how much will Hera be able to achieve with those archers and scouts that'll be hitting the field in just a minute's time? Will they be able to break through those walls? I mean, is TaToH going to be, I guess, generous? Oh, gets the scouting information on it as well.
That's so good. I was just going to say the middle buildings make it so TaToH may have no clue what that next step is as he lingers around with his scout, but the additional spearmen from TaToH will spot. It's going to be archers, and it's going to be scouts. So TaToH will think, I've got the fish. This could be good for me. I need to defend at all costs here. And as Hera is still trying his best here to try and just nerd out and trap things, he's got to be careful here. I mean, this is still a lot of work for Hera. It's not easy, even though he makes it look easy. A nice save, but at least TaToH knows. So I think he needs heavy, heavy defense because that army's going to be knocking on the door.
Yeah, we'll see what the answer is here in just a couple seconds. He's about to hit the feudal age. He sees his opponent knocking on the palisade walls, trying to find a way through.
Yeah, and I think What is TaToH going to build now? Hera still trying to trap the Spearman, and TaToH, I mean, this just cycle continues here. And behind this, we've got Range Blacksmith.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Range Blacksmith
Archer Range Blacksmith.
from TaToH, and some more walls as the scouts break down that door.
I'm really happy with the placement, too, of the Archery Range Blacksmith and the walls, right? He's just playing ultra conservatively, knowing that the way that this spirals out of control is if this exact army makes it in before any of his production even begins. So Archer's on the way here for TaToH, still well behind in numbers, though, and even thinking he needs to get a tower up for extra safety here.
This is something that Hera does a really good job at. It's like he can just simplify his game plan and apply pressure when he needs to. And so losing the fish and the Spearman, all that, it's kind of simplified his game plan. Normally, he might have been thinking about a lot more walling and adding the fish and adding the fish traps. Now it's just break down that door. And TaToH, he can only take fights if he's microing behind walls. The second walls are gone here, he's in trouble. So he dropped the tower. Hera just repositions instantly. And now TaToH can't build another tower. This is just... We haven't quite seen recovery of map control for TaToH yet.
Yeah, but super respectful of the threat that Hera is sending his way, right? Bringing multiple villagers out to get those house walls down, buy himself even more time. We do have fletching matched for fletching between the two players, and some archers in defense here. Not enough, though, and the micro's got to be there. Don't want to lose any of these villagers, if possible. Yeah,
I mean, Hera can lose an archer, and he's fine. TaToH cannot lose a single archer here. They're both always producing, but Hera has more. They both have fletching. TaToH, his villagers are super weak. He can't tower, so he's going to drop a market there. The units could still pass through, but TaToH doing everything he can to
drop a new house. You got to drop a new house behind that house. I mean, I guess your TC is there to defend, and with 2 more archers coming, maybe Hera doesn't feel like he can dive underneath. But that's not that many vills garrisoned in the TC, and that exactly. Hera's one of the players who is most willing to make an aggressive move like this.
Underneath the TC, because TCs don't hit. TCs just don't hit it, TaToH. He had a plan, but Hera's completely smashed him here, and it's all falling apart. Beautiful recovery from Hera, and honestly, dream scenario for him to just stop production now. Like, this is more than enough. You know there's going to be some fish back here. Hold on, that's TaToH. Hera.
Yeah.
That's TaToH. Split up your scouts.
He's splitting them. Will they reconverge? Are the archers
gonna... No way.
Oh, no
Hera.
way. Don't you do it. Okay.
Oh, he baited him.
Woo!
He baited him.
Oh, my goodness. Now, I mean, this is just a masterclass in Age of Empires. Honestly, from both players still. While it was a small error in execution there from TaToH to let these units in, the strategy was brilliant, but Hera finds his opening. He seizes it. And he's going to absolutely decimate this fishing economy.
And I mean, TaToH's just lost 2 demos. He killed, 3 units. He's still probably going to lose all his fish. TaToH's just in complete disaster mode right now. Beautiful play from Hera. He knew the demo was going to pop out, and he kept those scouts split up, got to the shoreline, thought he gave TaToH an opportunity, and backed away. And I really wonder, if the advantage was supposed to be the fish.
Right. Well, and you can see the panic in the economy. 500 wood just sold there from TaToH just to balance things out. But Hera's already on the way to the Castle Age. As you mentioned, he stopped production. As soon as that army got through, he knew he could buy himself the time, keep TaToH on this side of the map.
Yeah, and now Kimura, the best farming civ in the game. So as Hera fights away those remaining spearmen there, Hera should be in a good position to drop those town centers. He's got the vision in the middle. He's got the villagers still there. We'll lose these archers, but he could drop town centers, or he could maybe go for some forward siege here. TaToH just selling the barn to try and click up to Castle Age.
Yeah, not one to say die just yet. He is good with 27 villagers on wood, by the way. That's absolutely wild.
I think, and 2 on food.
2 on food.
Like, this is
rough.
Like
you said, the whole plan
was fish.
Was the fish.
Yep.
And as soon as that goes out the window, it's really tough while trying to deal with the military running amok in the back of your base to also balance your economy and drop 15 farms. And so does manage to get the click right as Hera arrives to the Castle Age. And Hera, I think, is going to play it calm and comfortable with his lead, dropping 2 extra TCs, not really leaving anything to chance.
Yep. What Hera wanted in this game was a scout opening and adapt. What Hera didn't get was that. but he's now found that in Castle Age. Right? It's just like Cav, scouts, and adapts.
He's bending the game to his will.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah, I wanted this.
The frustrating thing for TaToH now is that the strategy is kind of working, right? It looked pretty good. I think he had an opportunity to defend there. He would have had a nice fish lead. Resources collected, TaToH's actually ahead, and he took all those losses. So it's like, what if?
Yes. Well, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but 25 wood.
Yeah.
Was separated him between anything.
A stone gate. Yeah.
That's really what it was, is just the unwillingness to drop the house, and maybe something that he's going to look back on at the end of this series.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, I think strategically, he's already planting a seed in every other player's brain.
Yes.
That this is now a possibility both for himself to employ in future series or anyone else.
Yeah, and you also have to remember what TaToH has attempted here is probably like twice as hard, right? Because Hera just gave up his fish, and I mean, I don't want to oversimplify what he's achieved here, of course,
right?
But he just, I think it's a combination of Hera making it look easy, but also always trying to make the game plan as simple as possible for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to this position. This is where the complexities could start, because he's knocking on the door, and he just kind of waits now for TaToH. What are you going to send out, TaToH? What's your game plan?
Yep.
Ooh, little counterattack army.
Raiding party.
There we go. That was good. That was really good. Are you related to the guy who?
I'm just, I'm again in the effort to planting seeds for a possible future voiceover role.
Can you do?
I don't know. Can't do any foreign languages. That's gonna be the problem.
No, we've got a lot of taunts.
A lot of taunts to go through. When we find a more dead period in the broadcast,
Okay.
maybe we could do. That'd be a fun game later in the broadcast.
Oh man. Well, the counterattacks here. It's a pretty pathetic raiding party, if you ask me, compared to what it could be.
Getting trapped, by the way.
Hera says, "You live here now." So I'm just gonna build a blacksmith, build a house, and let you sit there and think about what you've done.
Just ridiculous. Playing with his food in a way at that point. But here we go. 3 scouts into the middle of the map. Hera's going to take the fight with the villagers. Does lose 1, but trades at least for another scout life.
Yep.
Light Cav to clean up the raiding party. That feels good for Hera, and like you said, Hera's just sitting here saying, "Call your shots, TaToH. It's on you. It's on you to do something in this game."
Yep, and Hera will be in a good position to get the relics because he's got more light cap numbers, and there is also that big looming question of how good are the Armenians exactly, right, in the later stages. I think we've seen them win on a map no one would have expected them on, maybe in Copenhagen,
right?
But it is a slower civ. And the Khmer are super mobile, and this is a rather open map.
Being a slower civ when you're behind, not usually a recipe for success.
Yeah.
And Hera's lead is only going to grow with a 4th town center now in the back of his base. And like you said, this Khmer farm's just absolutely, raking in
this is like
food.
This, to me, there's a lot of sets you see, you feel like the first game affects it greatly in terms of how it plays out. And with these 2 players, Hera being able to get through and break that non-meta strategy is going to give him a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to do that more here. So I think Hera's going to love this game, especially it's even better that we may have another 10 minutes left before Hera actually applies the finishing blow, because you just get that additional length of time, that feeling of control over your opponent.
100%. And while it is going to sting, at least a little, for TaToH to have lost this after what was such a creative and ingenious start, at the very least, you can kind of just point to a singular moment and go, okay.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. That's true.
And so move on.
Things are so bad for TaToH that Zebra's trying to leave the map right now. TaToH 21 bills behind.
Yep.
And also is behind in some eco upgrades here as well. Doesn't have wheelbarrow, doesn't have bow saw.
Yeah.
And Hera just chilling out with his light cap. He's not going to apply any pressure here. I think he's still just going to boop. Thank you, Vodka.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. 5th set of the day. Still focused on the important details. We love
it. And for every military upgrade that TaToH has, Hera's going ahead and clicking 1 more. You know, so and the numbers are going to be greater on top of all of that.
As if things could get even more annoying, a lion has found the warrior priest from TaToH.
Yes, yeah.
You can fight back at least. They don't attack monks, but they attack
warrior priests.
Interesting.
Well,
You think a lion would be more...
monks are a peaceful sort. Maybe lions recognize the non-threat.
You feel as though the lions would eat the monk because the monk can't defend itself.
I mean, I feel that's pretty discriminatory towards lions, and rather presumptuous of you that they'll just attack anything with 2 feet.
I think we just lost our lion audience. So
That's all right. We may have lost our lion audience, but we still got the Lamberger audience.
Oh,
Hey.
let's go. Let's go. TaToH grabbing +2 armor right now. And as we've been saying, he's just unfortunately behind in the same game right now. I think the light cav, it's a superior play for the Khmer, and Hera's been every step ahead here. But you do have a question of a switch for both civs. So I'm wondering what Hera's thinking. I'd love to see some Scorpions on the field, but it doesn't really feel natural for the Khmer here.
No, not necessarily. And while the numbers are slightly better here for TaToH and just about to have an advantage in the upgrades for a short time, may decide to take this fight. Light cav is not enough to punch through 4 TCs, right? And so while you might win the military battle here, once again, the eco behind it, I mean, in a way, this is kind of akin to the Bedouins game of the last series.
Oh, yeah,
where,
true.
Where you can trade evenly with a massive eco advantage and then just replenish the numbers.
Thank you, Vodka, for the zebra reminder. Even though there's a farmer next to him, still going. Still going. A nice shot from TaToH here. I mean, we have this feeling that Hera's never going to let this one slip.
Yeah.
But he's asking questions of Hera, right? Hera's had to match him. Hera hasn't really been ahead this game. Well, sorry. He's been way ahead this game, but he hasn't had the controlling castle age that I was expecting him to have.
Yeah. But this is, and again, I hate to be the downer, right? But it's like, we just go back to, well, then we just go further and further into the game where it feels like Khmer are just better and better.
Maybe, but like, Hera's starting to lose some vills. I just saw Hera lose a monk. Hera has... I mean, TaToH's got the potential to snag a couple relics here. There's vills exposed in the middle for Hera. I mean...
We do have castle resources, so let's see where that might be placed here for Hera. A bit more defensiveness or maybe even a game ender. And 1,700 gold in the bank, by the way.
Ballista elephants would hit hard. They would be really good, but they take time. You need the castles. You need the position here. And, well, TaToH's actually found a little bit of a groove. I thought he was going to be completely pushed back, still behind the same amount of hills, but somehow is asking the questions of Hera, as I'm saying. But he needs to, I think you need to hold this control, and you got to control those golds on the sides, which we haven't actually talked about much.
Right.
On this map, you've got those 2 golden hills that are key.
Well, that's where, one of the possible castle locations there for Hera, if he decides, okay, I've got enough stone in the bank, let me go take over one of those gold hills, and that's exactly what he'll do, looking towards the west in this moment. Needs to make sure he has military over there to defend, because TaToH is also heading that direction.
A lot of weak units there for TaToH. Upgrades are similar now. TaToH's going to see the vills, but if you stop to attack the vills, the light cav will get killed off. So he should know now that Hera's headed over there to build that castle.
Okay, pikemen on the way here for TaToH, because the light cav battle is entirely even. Near identical numbers, we have identical upgrades.
Yeah, Hera said, let's spend some of this gold, actually.
Yeah.
let's make some
16 knights all of a sudden.
Yeah, but look at TaToH. I mean, on paper, this could be an avenue back for him, because he is the only civilization that can get Halb in Castle Age. So you could stay in Castle Age against these knights.
You just go Halb Ram push?
It'd be sick.
That would be sick.
I mean, you need, let's see, Hera's collected 5,000 more resources. If there was ever a unit to chew up that additional 5k res spent, it would be Halb against knights. Knights are not cheap. Raids continue there. Hera just kind of waiting to take this first game, but it was the opening, it was the defense from Hera initially, and then getting into TaToH's base that gave him this lead, and he's just been free booming ever since. Castle in the middle on additional stone, castle on the left now on additional gold, and he might even be able to build up for a castle over in the right side as well. But he's 200 pop on the way to Imp. TaToH still trying to fight back here.
The window's closing, right? The window's closing. With that Imperial Age click, it's going to be all about what TaToH can do here with just the Castle Age options available to him in the Armenians. Like you said, I mean, the ability to go for Halb at this stage into primarily, cavalry player and Civ is your best option. I just don't know if the numbers are there and the resources just to sustain the Knight production for Hera might be enough.
He does have Khmer Scorpions to use here. So the Scorpions eject behind this. He's got Ballistics already and the 8 range. So he'll shred the Halbs there. Castle's getting delayed in the middle, but you'd expect Halbs to be able to show up to help there. TaToH's building his own castle. This is his play right now. Like, again, he's hoping to get to stay in Castle Age, trade against Hera, and kill off the Imp units. But it feels like Hera's castle's going to go up, and if TaToH's goes up, could just be trebbed right down.
Yeah. Again, I love the effort. and TaToH realizes it's time to tap out. Again, a moment in that game that might live in his brain for some time. He may go back to if the series doesn't ultimately go his way.
Yeah.
But absolutely love the strategic decision, and I still want to put a spotlight on that.
That was good strat. Yeah, that was a really good strat. It's just the whole, like, Hera gets into his base, it's kind of GG, unfortunately. Hera did the right thing. He did the safe play to just boom up, but he had a massive lead there. So
and you know, there's so many other players who would not have made that move, right? And it really was. It was a couple seconds of a window, and Hera saw his moment. He decided, yep, with 6 scouts and 6 to 7 archers, I'm going to dive right through, and that'll be it.
I think it's a really big win for Hera. I mean, again, it's group stage. Whoever loses here is still going to have plenty of games to play.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're going to beat Hera, you need to rattle him, and you need to show something that's a little surprising, right? And maybe then the frustration can start to seep in of, oh, I lost to that. That's so bad. I should have never lost to that, or should have expected that. Didn't happen. He just beat it. He just beat it straight up. It will not matter to him now that it was potentially a mistake from TaToH.
Yeah.
Right? Because he won the game. He can think about that later. Maybe next time he sees Armenians on that map, just expect that it's going to be the Spearmen. So a good question for later, by the way, is if he would have expected the Spears.
Absolutely. Well, and the good news is that's one of the beautiful things about being here at the venue, right? Obviously, the games are amazing to watch from home, but one of the advantages of being in this apartment is to get to watch them right up close, but also then to get to overhear the conversations or ask direct questions to the players. And in fact, during that game, I have a little bit of information to share with you, T90. We had a very, very special certain viewer named Carmen who decided to purchase for 1,000 euros the opportunity to come join us on Saturday and share in that very experience.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much for that, but just wanted to shout you out, and we look forward to meeting you on Saturday, Carmen.
All right. Is there a limit on that, by the way?
That I don't know.
Like the amount of people?
I won't say anything until production confirms for me.
I'm just saying,
about whether or not there are more available. That is a great question. I'm sure other people might want to take advantage.
Might get very crowded in here. We might have a very large prize pool.
Well, we have an extra headset.
I'm just curious. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, it's like we said, it's going to sting a little bit, but I think it is still an easy one to shrug off within the course of a best of 5 for TaToH, because you can point at a singular moment, and pretty much everything beyond that, you already knew you were fighting, a crazy uphill battle. So from here, if we kind of put the mental piece aside and go back to what we have in front of us in terms of the remaining maps, remaining civs, TaToH with the map selection, having taken the loss in game 1, where do you think you go?
I think you go to a short ad break before we discuss that.
Okay. Smooth.
And now, a word from our partners. Tired of interruptions ruining your moment of peace? Discover true tranquility with the Hammer Bluetooth headphone Passion Voyage, with cutting-edge noise cancellation, immersive sound, and unmatched comfort in every note. Sounds like more Hammer.
Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup, where the series score stands 1-0 in favor of Hera between our two players who each exited day one undefeated.
Yep.
Now TaToH has tasted the sting of defeat, needs to start putting wins up on the board. Let's go. We don't even have to wait. T90, we're right into it, and the Kings are dancing on Copenhagen.
Can't TaToH technically try and block Hera's king and bring a scout?
He could.
That'd be a lot of clicking.
I would love that. I would love that. But yeah, maybe not the best use of APM at this moment. Both players already on the way to the feudal age. Not really going to come as a surprise on our regicide map. It kind of starts in a blistering pace, at least on the water, right? Double dock for both players here. And it's going to be Vietnamese versus Italians.
So you start with pre-built farms on this map. It's 9 villager starts. You have quite a bit of eco. And we have seen a lot of double dock galley openings in this. Eventually, there's the other pond, but almost as expected, Hera's like, let's forget about that. Let's just absolutely dominate my opponent on this side first. Let's take the shore thing. So 3 fish for both. Italians slightly cheaper up times, which will suit Hera here. But Hera's got to be a little careful with that king. When your opponent hits feudal age, the scout does run faster than you. So maybe get home, Hera.
Yeah, on the same side of the map at the moment, but has enough of a gap over that scout that will be able to retreat back within the walls to safety in due time. Feudal age arrived for both players. Hera did go up 1 vil earlier, so the production on those galleys started just a bit earlier. But with that much distance between the docks, we're going to have the good old dance, as we always do there for a while.
I talked to Hera a little bit about the Doubt Viper game on this map where we saw Armenians, Malians. They both open galley war.
Right.
And I just asked him in general, what did you think about the strategy, the civs, whatever. And Hera said something in a very Hera way. He's like, well, that to me was a fake game because Doubt's micro wasn't quite there, right? So to me, what that meant was, well, the execution wasn't there, so it's hard for me to judge the situation as it should be, right? So I think this can be largely execution-based, right? And we see the galleys meet each other there.
You know what I love about that? Is because yesterday, it was during that Viper Doubt series that we had the conversation about how a player's individual mechanical ability can affect the the total strategy or playbook that they have to choose from. And Hera is exactly that kind of a person. He's evaluating the situation going, well, if I insert myself into that position, my options change, right, based on my micro as compared to somebody else. So, can evaluate it there. Obviously, not exactly the same matchup this time around, but Italians, a phenomenal water civ. So we will look to see if Hera can ultimately wrestle control of the top side water. Almost losing a vil.
Yeah, so long term, Italians are by no means a weak late-game civilization, but I think the Vietnamese Rats and Archer is a very difficult unit to stop. Hera's going to want this to be a big booming castle with map control somehow, and I think this almost goes like a full trash scenario for him. Skirmisher and Hussar should be a long game if I had to predict it right.
Yeah, I would expect the same. We do have the investment into fletching over here for TaToH. While that hasn't been reached for just yet on the side of Hera. Of course, numbers meaning more than anything when it comes to galley wars. But it will be a slight advantage here for TaToH.
Okay, we're going to play a fun little game.
Let's do it.
Guess how many units have been killed by the time both reach Castle Age?
3 total units.
Okay, I was wondering where you were because I'm just like, this dance may go on for a while.
Yep. I mean, the only reason we might see some kills is if TaToH notices I've got the fletching advantage and really commits to a fight. But likewise, Hera has so much space to give at the moment.
They're just neither player is going to want to overcommit. And it's just going to be little chip damage here, there. There you go. TaToH gets a hit. I'm sure Hera will respond. Now Hera responds.
But here's why I like my prediction of 3, because if I'm wrong, that's only good for us too. It means more action, right?
That's
that's why we win. I win either way.
I would prefer to be correct. So I'm gonna say 11.
Oh!
As we see the action
all right,
unfolding.
And everybody go, oh, no, I've already lost.
It's at 4 already. Wow.
4 already.
You're bad at this
Action-packed.
That was less than a minute.
My goodness, they're throwing haymakers at each other 9 minutes and 30 seconds into a Copenhagen game. Really? They go to 4 and then they go back to their corners?
The amount of times I've really been convinced that it's going to be 3 like you. Taught me, and I've then been wrong, taught me to bait you into
That's
that.
why you ask the questions and never answer them.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. I'm wising up to your games.
Oh, man. And so far, I mean, it's not getting close to 11, but the engagements could easily heat up a little bit. Hera, very clean build, very well-balanced economy, and he clicks up. And he's on the way to Castle Age already, so could be an advantage to him in Castle with everything you look to, the TCs and the Navy upgrades.
Right, so yeah, let's talk about that because very unlikely that anything's going to break during, this next couple minutes as the players make their way to the Castle Age. How do you expect each player to approach expanding in Castle?
Well, so Hera's Genoese crossbowman I don't think has any benefit at all because there's likely to be Ratans. So I think Hera will he'll try and win water and he'll boom, right? And we're not going to see much more than that. Maybe he could potentially drop the dock on the right side and come over here, but I don't fully expect that. And that's great for him because he's already winning water and because War Galley's cheaper for him, so it's less investment to win, which is ideal. TaToH, he should understand, okay, Hera's probably just going to boom because he's not going to make Genoese. The scout goes in. The scout has made it in. That's actually could be bad for TaToH because he might not get out.
Playing with fire here.
I need that unit to die. Yes, okay, that's 7. That's 7.
Is it when the second player reaches Castle?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I should have asked for the full rules beforehand.
I believe I made it clear.
All right. We'll check the tapes.
But yeah, I think TaToH needs Ratan Archer is so strong, so I think that's going to be his play. But
I
gotta catch up economically.
I swear, if it ends up being 11,
dude, there's good chances.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
There's good chances. Come on, Hera.
Look, I'm okay with being wrong.
Hera?
I also need T90.
Hera?
I also need T90 to be wrong.
9,
okay.
10. No, this is Hera back up.
Oh, that's 11. That's 11.
Freaking TaToH with a 15-minute Castle Age.
Hey,
what is this?
Look, it feels good to be wrong together, my friend. Okay.
I mean, you were more wrong than me.
Alrighty.
Nice shot from Hera. I think good recognition from TaToH as well to stop making galleys. He stopped a little while ago. But it kind of hurts, right? Because now Hera can add the cheap fish and the TCs. This is just a straight-up boom game from Hera and just textbook start for the Italians. So it really, to me, is just all about those Ratans for TaToH. And how is Hera going to stop that?
Well, I mean, one way is like you say, by out booming and just having the resources to do anything he wants in a few minutes' time, because you see how quickly he's investing into more fishing ships after eliminating his opponent's galleys. And yeah, TaToH later to the 2nd and 3rd TC means he's already going to be behind in villager production. And I mean, if you're doing everything within your walls, there's no way Ratan Archers break in.
Here's a question. Do relics even matter at all in this matchup? Like, relics are always great to have in the long run, but if rats and archers are the go-to, and that's pretty much what you need to stop, do you even go for relics?
Yes, I think you do.
Okay.
But largely because in 10 minutes game time, that is your imp gold, like if depending on how many of the relics you pick up. But I just don't see an argument unless you're contested. Actually, I'd see more of an argument if both players are fighting for control over the map. But if Hera is going to stick within his walls, then yes,
you got to get him.
He's 175 wood for the monastery, 100 gold. I think that's worth it.
Okay. I think if you're on 3 TCs and do all that first, then I'm okay with it. I think where I'd really be worried here in TaToH's position is if he delayed that, because look at this already. Look at Hera as well. All 3 of those docks are pumping out fishing ships, and he's fish trapping with them. So it's 3 TCs, then 3 dock production. This eco's not even going to be close here.
Yeah,
crazy.
So there's the monk, right? And it does look like Hera's going to concede pretty much all of the map control in favor of just an incredible economy behind it. But yeah, I think now, once again, Hera is putting the onus on TaToH to ask the questions.
Yeah,
right?
he is.
If you leave me unchecked, I am just going to have that much more at my disposal. I could even take bad trades and still ultimately win this game. So I think now there's a clock. I don't know exactly how long that clock is, but there's a clock on TaToH where he's going to have to start, knocking on the door at some point.
This isn't something I've seen Hera. I would not have expected this from Hera, to go for the stack of fishing ships and fish traps on 3 docks like this. I would have expected this from Viper, would have expected this from like maybe Vinchester or something, but Hera's more of a farm guy, you know what I mean? So I think this has always been optimal. So if there was a possible weakness in Hera's play, maybe it was he was too reliant on farms if he wins water, but this is sick. And just your docks are now town centers. It's an eco production point. So he's making full use of it.
Right, he's got 6 eco buildings.
Now, I don't think this will happen, but if TaToH sneaks up some docks, that could be bad.
Could be, but look, he's patrolling. He's patrolling.
Yeah.
He's using the majority of his galleys to try and batter through those walls.
Yeah.
But then using 1 or 2 just to patrol the shoreline. I mean, he's thinking of everything. Okay, we've got something in the middle here. Siege Workshop, it looks like. But can you commit to I mean, I guess with the castle, where the castle's placed, you break in the north, perhaps, with a couple rams and Rattan archers?
You don't normally see a castle age push because the opponent has defensive towers in the castle, but it is still only 1 tower.
Yeah.
So if you think about it like an Arabia game, if someone just has a watchtower with no fletching,
3 rams.
you can mangonel push it.
Give me 3 rams. Oh, you think mangonel? I just want 3 rams, go to the north, batter through the walls, kill all the docks.
Okay. I mean, you're a dreamer. I like that about you.
Yeah, bro.
That's good.
I'm also 1,300, so take my advice for what it's worth.
I gotta download a couple of your
Yeah,
recs.
about a minus 800 in your elo. No, even more probably.
It depends on the day. Let's not talk about that. I mean, he's really struggling for resources right now, TaToH. That almost feels like a bombard cannon siege workshop, but it's way too early.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Mango's
Hera's
the
boom.
answer, but we're on the way to Imp.
Hera's boom is insane. Like, yeah, it's just they're not playing on even ground right now. Hera is this resource income that's not even close to TaToH's, and you can afford to make mistakes now. You could make the wrong unit and still probably be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just absolutely terrifying. Going back to the point you were making earlier, when you said if there was a weakness in Hera's game, and he may have just corrected it, and this is the guy who's just been wiping the floor, with tournaments over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I also want to say, in terms of Copenhagen, we've seen a lot of fun, creative Copenhagen games. This is how Copenhagen should be played, straight up. I really think the guy who's going to win water there should do this. There's no way the person with TCs can beat them if they do this. I would be very surprised if everyone else isn't watching this like, okay, maybe we got to stop with the relics on the side, all the little side shenanigans, because it's so good. Now, Italians are one of the best at it, so maybe that's part of this because of the cheap fishing ships and cheap dock decks. But this is just, it's just perfect. And TaToH's just thinking, rats and archers, baby, let's go.
And what did you say? You could even play the non-optimal unit, and he's building. He's going to go crossbows into rats and archers. Yeah. Obviously, they will be Imperial Age and soon be Arbalest with Imperial Age upgrades. But in a way, you wouldn't necessarily think, yep, this is the answer to Vietnamese.
Yeah, I would have thought he'd go skirms here, honestly. Right. I wonder if he just wants to get to Arbalest Hussar combo.
Right.
Obviously, if he gets Bracer and Chemistry in, he can fight off the rats ends, no problem. But maybe a questionable unit choice for now for Hera. But you've got to expect, with the way his resources are going, that he's probably going to add a lot more. And he'll walk to the middle now, and he is going to see the Siege Workshop. And so that should be something to avoid right now if you're Hera.
Yep, sees the Siege Workshop, hits Imperial Age, Thumb Ring on the way, goes for Handcart as well to aid the economy. And a Town Watch Bracer, I like that with Outpost. Both players looking for information, don't want to get surprised by anything. The good news for TaToH, right? A minute away from Imperial Age, Hera's still on his side of the map.
Yeah, that's true. And this is something that Hera can afford to do, but could potentially be a weakness here if TaToH is able to take control of the other golds. Maybe get to those relics. TaToH has 2, 0 for Hera. Hera clicks Chemistry, so it seems like his plan is Bombard Cannon. And it's just the slow build out, right? Expending his wood on the buildings, It was TaToH has to avoid his army for now. He's showing TaToH is going crossbow. TaToH's like, what?
Well,
He's going crossbow?
But now the elite scrim tech comes in.
Oh man, Hera. Playing with fire a little bit there, but showing off the moves.
Exactly.
And with Bracer, that's never a contest. Well played, Hera.
Yeah, very well done. Bracer and chemistry for TaToH. Still on a delay as compared to Hera's timings.
And
Second castle at home as well. Very defensive setup here for TaToH. He knows he's going to have to absorb some pressure for a while, as he was the one who was later to that final age.
There was like something that Hera, I could be critical of with Hera. Or let's say this. Let's say recommend to Hera, which again, this is just as ridiculous, but second blacksmith for this guy needs to happen more often. Like he collects resources at such a rate, and then it's like blacksmith techs one by one by one by one. I'd love to see second blacksmith for more pros, honestly.
Yeah, suffering from success is
yeah.
right, in a way, right? And then, yeah, again. All right, mass exodus of the villagers. Maybe for another castle here, as I see, yep, the stone at 680 goes ahead and drops a forward castle position. Perfectly set up to rest his trebs underneath and treb back to 2 positions of TaToH.
And TaToH is going to be under immediate pressure here in Imp, waiting for the upgrades, but he needs those castles for his ideal unit, and Hera's castle is going to protect that. We've got bombard cannons on the way. We've got a militia from Hera that he cancels. But this is the timing. You've got to kill the Vietnamese before the Rats and Archer number gets higher, before they become elite.
Yep. But this is so tough. Vietnamese castles, very weak. Very, very weak. And so as another 1 or 2 trebs arrive, it'll become that much harder to keep his castles alive. He is able to produce out of both of his castles, though, and has multiple bombard cannons on the way. So we'll see. We'll see. Perhaps the defense can hold.
This is where I'd expect Hera to maybe, now that he's fully teched up with his other army, he's full pop, now we might see those stables drop, start to see cav upgrades flying in to go for some potential raids. But he just knows that it's all about this middle area right now. If TaToH loses these castles, he's completely toast.
Yeah, both players right now working with 2 trebuchets and 2 bombard cannons. We've got 2 more arriving to the scene here from Hera. It does look like at least one of these castles is guaranteed to go down. A lot of villagers being committed to the repair.
Yeah,
TaToH doing everything he can to keep it alive. Hera's castle as well likely to go down.
Yeah, Hera just tossing away skirms because he didn't want those bomber cannons to hit his castle there. And he loses the castle anyways. So maybe some life here for TaToH. He's got elite Rats and Archer on the way. But there's more bomber cannons for Hera. He loses one.
Loses 1. Trades out for a treb in return. TaToH looking to do the same with his bombard cannons. It's all about the micro and the splits. The Ratan Archers, as elite, is about to come in. We're thinking about diving. Think better of it in the end. That's 1 trebuchet down there for Hera. A second one under fire and does end up falling. It's TaToH now who's got the siege lead in a way.
And I don't think Italians get it. Maybe it's an upgrade Hera's missing, but I know Hera didn't research siege engineers. So he's at 12 range on the bombard cannons. TaToH snagged that upgrade. Telling you, mass Rats and Archers is no joke, and I've seen games where the player has the worst economy and can still win.
Oh, this could be a huge shot, though. Okay, eliminates one of those bombard cannons. There's a bombard with 1 HP on the side of Hera as well. We'll see if TaToH recognizes that and decides to dive for it with his archers.
But an issue for TaToH here is like if Hera goes anywhere with a single raiding unit, he's got nothing, right? Like everything is all about the defense right now. And Hera's got enough cannons to toss away a few. He's going to back away with his cannons there. He's killing a lot of Rats and Archers. And Hera just so consistent with the numbers here.
Yeah, an incredible amount of elite skirmishers with even more in the queue, producing out of 7 archery ranges. And we also see some tech switches coming in, so he's already thinking about adding cavalry into the mix to deal the killing blow.
It's just such a crazy boom. 8,000 more resources, and he's spending it now. TaToH can't spend his resources fast enough because the only thing he can spend it out of his castles. And he's going to have no castles, actually. That's his last castle there. I thought maybe he had more behind this. He'll dive for the bombard cannons. He'll snipe the bombard cannons. He holds on. So another hold from TaToH. And Hera loses all those siege.
That's massive. Buys himself a couple extra minutes. We still have a couple trebuchets up there. Hera's not comfortable committing to the fight just yet. Thumb ring now on the way here for TaToH, dropping a second castle further back in his base. That'll help with the production, but like you say, he's stuck on a singular unit out of very few buildings while Hera is diversifying, right? Teching into some of those cavalry upgrades. Eventually, we'll see more of those scouts and light cav come out.
Just saying, the rats and archer numbers starting to get crazy. Bombard cannons are superior for TaToH. We still haven't seen Hussar research. We still haven't seen the armor. I'm not seeing the stables go down. If Hera continues to commit to Skirm Bombard Cannon, it is arguably worse.
There. It's like he heard you.
Yeah, he needs a little bit more here. I think just a raid. And TaToH can't deal with a raid. He's got 7 on food. Like, TaToH has committed everything to wood and gold right now.
Yeah, he himself, though, now is even teching into Elite Skirm. And while he does have a lot of food in the bank, as you said, only 9 villagers working on food for the time being, so won't be able to sustain production for long, and Hera's feeling so comfortable diving underneath the castle. We eject the rat and archers. They go forward looking to take on some of those bombard cannons, but 3 trebuchets, 5 bombard cannons do ultimately take the castle down. The numbers are dwindling. We're back to 1 building production. Elite Skirms just now coming out onto the field. Imperial Skirmisher now on the way. This is the last-ditch effort, rather, for TaToH to try and hang in it.
And that's all Hera wanted. Like, the KD's not going to be pretty for Hera this game. He's had much better games in that regard. He just wanted that castle down. And if he has to sacrifice 50 skirmishers to take a castle, he'll do it. And I'm sure he'll sacrifice another 50 more to take these bomber cannons if he needs to.
Yep.
There's just not enough army for TaToH Dash.
Yeah.
And Imp Skirm is super vulnerable against the cannons Hera has, and then the tech switch we know is coming from the stables.
And at the end of the day, this is exactly the game that Hera built his economy for, right? As we talked about, in winning the water, committing to the fish boom, he set himself up to take the trades where he's losing in nearly double the fashion of a KD, and yet still winning the game.
What do you think about Cavalier here? I think
for Hera?
You're not spending gold. You have full map control.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah,
you should do it.
I think Hussar still gets the job done,
right?
And it might be the safe play, but if you're concerned, you don't have any relics, and the Vietnamese get wood, like gold from chopping wood. Like, Vietnamese have a good late game. I think it's worth just going full Cavalier with this much gold.
Yeah, I think it would be 100% acceptable for you to do so. Like you say, Hussar is also going to get the job done in the end, and so perhaps saving that gold for a rainy day, right? In the case where it starts to go late and it does become more of a game. We'll see.
I
mean, right now, Imperial Skirms are starting to push things back, but right as I say that, the first round of Hussar arrive, and TaToH goes, oh, nope, not where I want to be.
Yeah, and TaToH's base is wide open. It's not even the lack of castles. Like, the Hussars could just run right through into TaToH's wide open economy. 1 bomber cannon down. Hussar is such a big game changer here. And another bomber cannon's going to go down as well. And even though TaToH's pop is high, I'm sure he can't be feeling like he has much momentum to work with.
No, pop looks decent, and that 1,500 food that he had in the bank is completely gone now.
Yep.
Right? And he's only managed to get 13 villagers onto farms. He does have 85 on wood, could drop a fair number of farms, but it might be too little, too late, as 1 more of his castles that just went up is now already become the focus of Hera's army.
And Hera's just going to attack there, take a decent enough trade, surround those units, and he knows that it's all about sniping those castles now. If the rats and archers can't be created, there's 0 chance for TaToH. And as we expected, Hera takes game number 2, and that was just the perfect Copenhagen game, if you ask me.
Yep. Yeah, no, it absolutely was. And once again, I think it's going to start causing certain players in this tournament to go, okay, hold up.
Yeah.
Is that just the way that this game is supposed? This
map
specifically
I really
is supposed
do.
to be played?
I really hope I'm wrong, because if it's that simple, the player who wins water up there is like really gonna be in much better position than what we've seen. But I mean, why would you not? Like, if you win water, you should absolutely fish boom like that.
Okay, so let me try and break the strategy, right? Or rather ask some questions about the strategy. So number 1, Italians. Can it be done with others, right? How many other civs? Yeah, how many other civs can that be as effectively done with? That's question number 1.
Okay.
Question number 2 is, okay, in a world where we start battling over that side of the map, while it is a longer journey, if you're not the Italians player, why don't you just go to the other pond?
Well, if you go to the other pond, then you give them the fish boom a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier.
However, what has traditionally happened is if you're not trying to compete for the long water, the guy's not going to have that many galleys. He might just make 1 or 2. So it could turn into a game where you have to sneak back on the water later on.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think like Malay, insane with that.
Yeah.
Italian's insane with that. I'd love it with Bengalis as well. I think their eco's top tier. I'd love it with maybe
Third question.
Japanese.
Third question.
Yeah.
I resubmit my Castle Age ram push idea.
Well,
Just think about it. I tell you what. You take about a minute to noodle on that.
Oh, that's good.
We're going to take a minute-long break. We'll come right back here for game number 3, where Hera's going to try and wrap it up in 3-0 fashion. TaToH going to try him out, the reverse sweep.
And now, a word from our partners.
Have you heard of the 21st century?
Why settle for clacks, clunks and jams? Say goodbye to sticking keys. And welcome to the ultra-responsive, quiet precision of the U-Rage Exodus 760 mechanical keyboard. With our Temu red switches for ultra-silent key presses, anti-ghosting with N-key rollover, and 1 millisecond response time, this keyboard will keep up with your fastest moves. Whether you're gaming or working, you'll enjoy precise control at the speed of light. Get yours on Mueller.de. In case you rage, we do not cover costs for damaged screens or unfinished castles.
Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup, where I'm not sure viewers at home know that every single one of those ads is actually filmed live. And so that's a lot of monitors that we've already broken, just running that singular ad.
Actually,
over and
I believe
over again.
TaToH did that exact thing after seeing the fish boom from Hera. So we're waiting to get the next monitor up there for TaToH. He took inspiration from the ad. Just kidding. We are actually in the next game here, and we talked about this earlier, how we thought maybe it would be TaToH going Aztecs here. Hera's going to go Mayans, and very reminiscent of, I think, Vinchester early on in the tournament, is trying to stop the Dock Villager with an Eagle and the Villager of his own.
No Loom yet. Loom's not yet in.
Yeah, Hera just, you know there's going to be a Dock, especially from the Lithuanians, and Mayans have the extra Vil. This is just ruthless from Hera.
Oh, this is absolutely brutal. Yes, Loom is just now finished, but the Vil in full retreat mode and too far away from the TC. Now, while the Vil will go down, very likely, unless it's trapped. Oh. Got it. So the Vil goes down. Now, you traded a lot of scout health there.
Yep.
And ultimately, while the Eagle Scout would normally win that 1v1, right? At this point, the Scout Cavalry will win the trade.
Yes.
But won't win the 1v1 against...
But if there's enough HP on this from TaToH, he can now return the favor. And I don't know if Hera was expecting that. Okay, so now Hera's like, oh, snap.
The chase is on.
And he doesn't have an Eagle.
Yeah. He's sending another Vil.
And is this just going to be a Vil rush?
Let's go. Let's go. What better way for Game 3 to take place than send the barn?
Yeah, I think Hera's like, oh, I mean, I like that for a second. I mean, if there's one player here who can quick wall their Vil the best, it's TaToH. I've seen TaToH wall in 4 enemy Vils that have come to chase 1 Vil before. Hilarious stuff. I'd expect Hera to still be competitive with it, but...
I mean, this is a wild goose chase right here.
It is.
Absolute wild goose chase. But while all of that's happening, TaToH has made it up to the top water, dropping a dock. Hera has done the same. Now, the positioning is a little different than we've seen on a lot of other maps, because usually both are kind of trying to get to that central point.
Watch TaToH chop that tree, and then Hera will build a palisade immediately over it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all. That's what TaToH should.
Oh, he's on the run again.
Hera was thinking about trapping her.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yep, okay. Yep, that happens again. Someone's going to chop the tree. And in the past, you get excited. But Hera's just going to drop the... Oh. Okay.
I mean, at a certain point, that Vil's health gets low enough that the scout becomes relevant again if it wants to come back and chase it down.
There's also lions around here.
There are.
So watch out for the lions. This is hard to hype up, but it is really interesting.
Yeah, well, while we watch this hilarity ensue, I do want to point something out that became, or at least felt very relevant in your earlier set. which was the value of scouting, specifically on this map, right? And so we have an Eagle Scout down, but we have a Scout Cavalry alive on the other side.
Oh, and the villager
Got
has
away.
gone into the darkness. TaToH lost track of him. Dude, that's gonna live in the back of TaToH's mind. That's gonna change everything.
Oh,
You can't full wall now.
No.
You have to find that villager before you can ever think about playing safe.
Right, and you can see, I think rightfully so, he's given up on the chase, at least with the villager. On the way to the feudal age is TaToH.
You know what you're not going to expect that build to do? Build a second dock.
Yep.
Like, that feels like a second dock on the other side of TaToH's fish, maybe. But look at TaToH going forward.
absolutely
No scout for Hera.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? We saw how it ultimately punished a player earlier today, and it might result in the exact same thing. So while Hera might be set up for a bit of water control and a surprise there in the Navy battle, TaToH looking to put the pressure on early in feudal, bringing 4 villagers forward here, dropping the barracks.
I think that TaToH can be completely fine with losing his fish. With the control he's about to gain, he's up a minute faster. He can spear skirm, make it super sloppy, messy for Hera. And Hera has to blindly respect that the Lithuanians are probably going to go water.
So he is still committing to at least 1 fire galley on water. Hasn't moved any villagers to gold, right? So
Yeah.
that's to your point about it being a spear skirm situation as opposed to maybe mixing some archers in. And he's removed the opportunity to get fletching because of the spending of that gold.
I think...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt,
No, you're
but I
good.
think Hera, with the way the scout's lurking around, senses he's around me here. Like, no one scouts like that unless they're looking to see if I also have the barracks. And now Hera sees the vills. So the presence of the vills will tell Hera what this is. You don't usually see forward scouts.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have his barracks complete yet. He's got to move off the berries, and this is going to be a tough time for Hera's food eco.
Okay, so towers going up on those berries. The first spear has hit the field. The first skirmisher has hit the field. It is a counter tower here by Hera.
Yeah, and Hera, long-term, is really going to like his unit choice of Eagle Warrior. So it just takes a really long time to produce Eagles in the feudal age. Look at Hera try and save this there. There won't be additional fire galleys from TaToH, so Hera's got to hope that he doesn't lose too much. He loses a Vil, towers up, there's lots of idle time, and I think TaToH's going to be pretty happy with the start to feudal age here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, ultimately, Hera will win out in this tower battle because he can, if he chooses to, send another villager. Yep,
Yeah.
and there he goes to batter it down, but TaToH's already kind of achieved what he wanted to with that tower. He's going to move on and look for damage elsewhere. Importantly, not gathering stone. So there aren't going to be any more towers to follow, at least not for a period of time. So these are military units.
Yeah, spears and skirms are essentially here to tickle Hera to death. I know it sounds weird, but I don't know how else to say it. Just chip damage, I guess, like just poke, and you're not doing a lot of damage at once, but if you can make a lot of them, it eventually adds up. Beautiful play from Hera, though. He didn't lose a fishing ship in the north, so he should be free to add some fishing ships, but you need the wood eco for that. Like, you need... It's hard for you to settle your mind right now to even kill TaToH's fishing ship, so it shouldn't be an easy life for Hera.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting at the very least, right? You're forcing the reactions. The houses come up. He's had to vacate this wood line. We see another barracks now being dropped here for Hera, but he at least is on gold,
And-
has started to win the water,
Yep.
and might make use of another fish boom like we've seen in the past.
Second barracks, Eagles. It's kind of smart here. You don't see it every day, but if you're up against Spear Skirm and he's bought himself a little bit of time with the tower and everything, I could see it working out.
Oh yeah, it's a very logical play at that. And for TaToH, I think now it's a matter of deciding how much more you can really get done forward on the map, again, without that investment of more stone, and how you make use of those 4 villagers.
Yeah, TaToH's going to see the 3 Eagles and then have to somehow group up more army. You could think about scouts. Eco might be a bit tough for that, but that would make sense. Sometimes you'll see players just simply add more skirms because you could still hit and run against feudal age Eagles pretty easily. It just eventually it looks pretty foolish to have a lot of skirms on the field against Eagle Warriors.
Yep. Onto the gold, harassing, tickling.
Someone said you should have said stab. That's not a stab.
No.
You can't. You stab someone 40
now,
10 times.
I am impressed with the tenacity of these villagers to
go back to work.
Well, and to be hit by that many javelins, essentially, and still
Dude, I used to make...
stay at it.
When I was a noob, and no one say I still am, thank you, I would assume that skirmishers were the best unit in the game, because I think logically and say, would I prefer to get hit with a javelin in the chest or an arrow? I would say the arrow would do a little less damage than the javelin.
Yeah, probably.
So I made skirms against everything because it looked painful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but we could talk about the relative force and velocity with which each of those projectiles is entering your body. And that's where maybe I would contest that the arrow would do more damage fired from, a recurve bow or something like that than, say, a javelin thrown by the hand of a gamer.
Well, at least for now, it doesn't feel like the force from the skirms is a ton towards these eagles. And Hera's held. But TaToH mixing in a couple archers, and he's also got scouts prepped. Where's the stable at? No, that's not the stable. The stable's at home. He's got buildings everywhere. He's going to come in for this gold. Hera can't tower that gold. Hera thinks this is going to be a wall, chill the Castle Age, then he's got his Eagle Warriors type of game. This is a big army from TaToH. This could be a problem for Hera.
It absolutely is. Oh, it made the sixth sense, though. Going for the walls.
He sees it.
He's going for the walls. Now he sees it. The house has come down.
No way. He gets those walls down just in time. That's crazy.
Getting away with murder.
That's
Getting
crazy.
away with murder. Like you say, it's such an investment, and it could have resulted in so much. Even still, now choosing to go for bloodlines and forging.
Yeah.
Gonna try and work his way through the walls. At least has the skirmishers to harass and try to prevent more houses from going up.
Well, if you can still kill these eagles right now, that's huge. And so with those upgrades, TaToH's got the potential. Now, I don't know if he has the numbers. Hera's got forging, and Hera has armor. But yeah, it's still okay for TaToH to force fights against eagles for now. But, man, if he could break through, Hera could be in a really tough position.
Yeah, or even bring a couple of those units back to help the scouts in that fight.
Yeah. He's so good defensively. He's so good with his macro. And it's just the frequency in which it's like, okay, if he survives this moment, he's way ahead. It's just too damn high with Hera. He's just so good. And he's defended from that. He's on his way up. And TaToH's just invested all of his food into the scouts, which didn't end up finding the damage that they needed.
Yep, light years away from Castle Age himself, even investing more into the feudal age. He senses it. He knows that it's going to be now or never for him to find some form of punishment here for Hera. Now, the whole base isn't walled just yet, right? I mean, Hera knew exactly where he needed to prioritize on the southern side of the map as the army was coming from that direction. There are still openings here for TaToH. He still has these 4 villagers that could possibly make a mess in the back of Hera's base, but as has been the story of this entire set, the onus is on TaToH.
Yep. And Hera says, oh, actually, let's play it safe here. Drop a tower, a couple house walls. Nice little defense there. He's actually, I think the Eagles are sitting in his TC right now. Yeah, they're healing. Whichever ones are weak are just healing. That villager's kind of pissed. He's like, I thought I was supposed to be in there. But yeah, I mean, he's just going to wait it out. Wait it out so he can pounce. No real need to take any big fights, any big risks right now. TaToH snipes another Vill, though, to punish Hera a little bit for this greed.
Yeah, walls coming up, trying to funnel those military units towards the TC. A lot of micro with these villagers. As more military wraps around, though, he might have to abandon this wood line yet again. The archer numbers are building in that, in that pack. We've got 6 archers there with fletching.
You know what would be amazing is for Hera to use that initial sneak build to build a barracks in the back of TaToH's base. Stream eagles into TaToH's economy. Right now, Hera's got to defend his own base, but the second he hits Castle Age, the base attack goes up to 7. The eagles are going to wipe all of this. And I think just with how dominant it's been and how tough a road it will be for TaToH, he decides time to call the GG. So we have, one player still undefeated at this tournament?
Yes.
And that would be the reigning champion, Hera.
Yeah, not just in sets, but in games. A 6-0 scoreline here for Hera through 2 days goes to show you why he is so rightfully cited as the current best player in the Age of Empires 2 scene.
It was a really diverse 3 games as well, what Hera showed there. We had a curveball thrown against him in the first game, and he dealt with that well. I think TaToH will be kicking himself a little bit for that one. I'd be curious to hear Hera's take on how he feels that strategy would have been had he not got through. Game number 2 is like kind of like a full boom late game map, which Hera excelled in. He compared to previous times he's played on Copenhagen, I think he found a slightly higher level there with the fish boom. And then there he tried the forward Vil shenanigans, which ultimately I think maybe worked out in some ways for him, and defended against the forward. It was just a pretty complete series.
Yeah, I mean, again, masterclass in Age of Empires. He's showing us why he is so, again, rightfully considered to be the best that the scene has to offer, and he's kind of building up the story, the narrative that is everyone trying to chase him down.
Yeah.
Right? Setting the pace for the entire tournament.
And I know that people love to have this conversation of like people have got to be hiding strategies. I think something I like about Hera is I don't think he's doing a ton of that. Maybe he is, but I think he values how important it is to win out in the group stage, get the early lead, and just get a bye to the semis. It just eliminates the possibilities that things could go wrong.
Yeah.
So he's on good track for that. Obviously, we're just ending day 2. So.
The dude's got fire in his veins, man. He's so competitive. He's got fire in his veins and simultaneously ice cold. You know, it's like it's one of these like you can't shake him, but also if he's on a roll, then it's just a terrifying sight to behold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see a lot more of that, I think, over the rest of the week. We are going to send it over to Hera and Ellie to end the day. Interview Hera. Hear about his series.
90. Hera, well played. Congratulations. That was a flawless victory. You are coming into this tournament pretty much as the favorite to win it. And I saw in your recent Reddit AMA, you mentioned that you prefer being the underdog. So how is your mental game coming into this?
Hey, firstly, thank you. And secondly, I'm surprised you read through that. I'm very happy actually to hear that. Yeah, I prefer being the underdog because most of my life I was, and I felt really confident being the underdog, like nothing to lose, everything to gain. Being the favorite is different. I feel like you have a lot of pressure, and like winning group stage rounds doesn't mean much because you're supposed to do it. So I feel like when I perform, it's the expected, and when I underperform, it's a huge deal, which is, it definitely adds another layer of pressure onto every tournament because now it's like, I have to like maintain the certain form throughout the whole tournament, or else things start to falter a little bit. But nonetheless, I just really enjoy playing Age of Empires. So whether I'm favorite or underdog, it's just fun to play.
You've certainly been super strong, and you've amassed a lot of fans, and you put out a lot of content with Civ builds and tips, and yet you still have some haters that. So how do you feel about this? Because it certainly must be weighing on your mental game as well.
Well, I think it's like I used to worry about like what people said, but then I realized like for every one hater, quote unquote, and they're still watching my games. How much can they hate me? For every hater that we have, there's another 100 that really like me, or that really enjoy watching me play, enjoy watching me compete in tournaments. So if the question is, what do I have to say about the haters, or what do I think about them? The truth is, I don't really think about them, and it doesn't really affect me what they say. And what I will say is like, it's very weird if a Hera supporter, or one of my fans, or just a guy who likes to watch me, play. It's very weird if they say something really nice after every game I play. Like they're not gonna just like type something about me after every game. But then the hater watching every game, he's got something to say. So that's the difference. So you might see it more, but the reality is like there's a lot of viewers watching. The numbers are all increasing, and the masses. I think the numbers speak to where the masses' minds are at.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch you play, and just your mental game seems to be getting stronger and stronger because these 3 zeros speak for themselves. It's a really strong performance, so keep it up. Way to go. It's a really strong start. I'd love to see some of the replays and get your takes on it. Specifically in the first game here, Armenians versus Khmer. What did you think of this matchup going in?
This is a really fun matchup. I think he might have expected me to go Berbers, so that's why he picked Armenians. I had Berbers kind of cutting off the Spanish and Huns. I didn't think much of the matchup. I know I win late game pretty hard, so I have to just survive. I was completely sleeping on the spears, by the way. I didn't even realize that was a possibility, and well, it was kind of awkward.
Yeah, it was a really strong strategy from TaToH, and it caught you really off guard. What did you do to recuperate?
I failed like 10 house walls in a row, or house traps. Viper would have got those. This is why he's the GOAT, man. I mean, honestly, the people who watch me regularly know I miss those house walls on the daily. Like, that's not even new. But it was unfortunate I missed so many. But after that, like, to fail, I knew I had to go something crazy. So I went in the middle and did some Scout Archer, and actually paid off. I was able to get in and do some damage. This was kind of like a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I missed that right now, but there was a beautiful bait of the demo. Was that planned or just a happy coincidence?
It's TaToH. He had a demo queued from like yesterday, just in preparation for this. So the plan was just to not take a huge shot, and it worked out. I think he got one on me last NAC, so this is only fair. 1-1 now.
So we're moving into. No, this is still the first game. Where did you know that you had this one in the bag?
Honestly, I didn't. I just looked at the score, and the score was really good in my favor. So I felt like my eco was really nice, but I never felt like I had it in the bag. Maybe when I got this castle, this is like okay, this is over.
Okay. And so going in 1-0, were you feeling really good, or were you thinking maybe it could be like a Hera Leary was win-lose, win-lose?
No, I felt pretty good. Yeah, felt good. Didn't think much of it.
Perfect. So Italians versus Vietnamese. This is a Civ matchup that was really quite interesting. What were your thoughts seeing the Civs?
I knew he would go Vietnamese here because the way the draft works is like he picked first Civ and then you also pick one map, or like you pick a map. So it's very likely that the first Civ is played on the first map he picks. And I felt like Vietnamese late game is better than any Civ I had. So I had to try to do something creative. And I think the fish boom was really creative as well. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, we were talking about the fish boom nonstop. It seemed like it was really carrying the economy. It was very, very different from what you usually do. Did you recognize that in the moment?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to fish boom. That's why when he went galleys, I was scared. I wanted that lake. I was going to fish boom from the start of the game.
Yeah, we noticed that you're also patrolling with the galley to make sure that the shoreline was protected. So that was really, really top. Do you think that the Italian civilization had an advantage with its cheaper uptime or cheaper resource cost?
Yeah, so this is actually a really classic case of I have the better civ early and he's got the better civ late. So I had to go for the forward castle fast in. So for my Patreon supporters know exactly what I'm talking about here. We talked about the haters. We have to talk about the Patreon supporters now. They know exactly what I'm talking about, this forward castle fast in. It's the best way to actually win a game and close it out. But I will say TaToH played amazing to hold on. Like he held 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. So really big props to TaToH there. I think he did a really good job holding. I thought I would lose at some point, but I don't know what happened. I think the Hussar was clutch.
Yeah. Quick plug for Hera's Patreon. Check it out.
Nice, nice. You're really good at this, by the way. Really, really good at this.
So do you think here that TaToH maybe should have gone for a siege tower?
What?
Yeah, well, this is actually from Dave. He was actually thinking about, like,
Of course it's from Dave.
Yeah, should TaToH have gone for a siege tower? Do you think that would have made a difference for him?
Where would he put the siege tower?
Over the...
Like the Stand by King?
Maybe.
No, listen, whatever Dave says, if it involves the siege tower, we don't listen to that. No way. I don't think, no. And really, I don't think there was a siege tower angle, but it would have been fun.
It would have been really fun.
Yeah,
The fans love the siege tower. So game 3, this is High Tide. You were playing with the Mayans. I'm a really big fan of that civilization, super strong. You had a really nice Vil kill at the start of the game. No doubt that added to the confidence. Mayans start with an extra Vil and Taddy's down one. And then there was that really awkward Vil fighting. How were you managing, like how much time did you devote to that, like in your mental brain capacity?
No, this is very good for me. He's got the better civ, so I have to play anti-meta from the start. And I just completely threw him off his game plan. And the game is really messy. I'm okay losing from the start. Like this is no problem if I lose, because he's got the better civ. And I just made it really messy, and whatever happens, happens. That's kind of the mentality. And it just turned out that the sneaky dock in the back was a nice idea. And he went forward, which could have been a bit rough, but luckily the Eagles were good enough.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention that. TaToH went forward, like with a fast feudal, went forward. Did that catch you off guard?
Not really. I think it was a great idea from him because, again, the game is messy. So usually when it's messy, people just go with the flow. And I think it was a nice idea, but I just had a few fortunate moments and had a nice back goal. So I felt confident in most of that defense.
So going into tomorrow with a 3-0 scoreboard, or sorry, 6-0 scoreboard, what are your thoughts? What are you feeling?
My thoughts, I'm actually very disappointed. I wanted to lose today and play Doubt tomorrow. That was like ideal scenario. That was so funny. Like every single time I walked back in the room, his morale got worse and worse. I don't know what happened. We left him in there too long by himself. Him and Hart, they were just talking too much, feeding off the negativity between each other. But Doubt's obviously a really funny guy. He likes to make jokes all the time. And I really felt like it would be hilarious if that happened. But unfortunately, we won. And not gonna happen. But now I'm hoping that maybe I don't know. I think Doubt is safe, sadly, but maybe he gets TaToH. We'll see. But I'm feeling, realistically speaking, now I'm feeling really good for tomorrow. I don't know who I'm gonna get. I think maybe Winchester actually, or maybe Leary too. Oh, it's a hard matchups ahead.
So what's your preparation going to look like in the next 24 hours or however many until you play?
I think I will go play whoever's in the room right now, probably, and then do some practice tomorrow as well, probably.
Would you like to say a couple more words to the fans before we let you go off and celebrate?
Yeah, go watch my recap videos on YouTube, please. We plug the Patreon. I have to plug the YouTube as well, just to balance it. So go watch those, please, because they're really funny, but they're not getting as much views as I want. So please, if you guys don't mind, really appreciate that. Just check it out on YouTube.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much and congratulations. And have a wonderful time celebrating with the friends here. I know LANs are so fun that you get to see everyone together in person. And just way to go. And since we're shouting people out,
Yes?
quick shout out to Roxy, who actually she so kindly mentioned to me yesterday that since you got married, you have not lost a single S-tier tournament.
Oh my God, this is some wife propaganda. I did lose one after we got married.
Not an S-tier.
No, it was S tier.
Well, she left that part out, and I believed her.
That's good.
Girl power.
That's good because she's only focusing on the positives. This is very good. Like, amazing mentality.
Okay, well-
I've never lost a game. It's also really good. Focus on positives. Like fantastic. No, but that's it's been going good. Like
Okay.
yeah, it's been going good. We have good chemistry, and apparently things are working out. Married life is a huge buff, apparently.
Okay, perfect. Happy to hear that it's going well in your professional and your love life, and wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching day number 2. It was a phenomenal set series today. And to close it off with a beautiful, clean 3-0 is always fun to watch. And just before, we had a nail-biter between Harry. Yeah, Lyra and... Lyra, geez Louise. Leary and Viper, always amazing to see what the pros will have in store for us tomorrow. So from all of us today, big thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.